What's going on, kings and queens? Thanks for joining me again on Keeping It Copacetic. It's time for us to take a little bit of our day to just kick back and relax, put our feet up, lay down, get on a pillow, bed, sofa, hammock, whatever you can. Get in that bathtub, soak your feet, whatever you can do to get a moment to relax. If you're on the road, just kick back, take a breather, stretch, and just keep yourself aware and just keep yourself safe. I'm sipping on a glass of tea to relax. Get whatever works for you. Whatever works for you to get in that zone where you can just take a moment for yourself. Let all those stresses of the day go and just have a moment. You need a moment. So much going on. You always need a moment. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and get into chapter 15 today of Shortcut. Before we get into chapter 15, let's do a short recap of chapter 14. In chapter 14, Ernest got money from Vince to buy Eva out. Just get that whole connection broken, give her money back, and then she go her way and he go his way. But Eva wasn't having it. She didn't want to be bought out. She was hot about it. He told her that Mitchell had come by the shop, and she got so angry at Mitchell for really doing that because she felt like Mitchell came between them and that he was the problem. So she stormed home and she read him the riot act, of course, and stormed out of the house. And Nally was there. It was a whole scene. It was a whole scene. But anyway, she's done. She says she's out of the marriage. She wants to try to see if she can get Ernest to see things her way. Come with her. Leave his wife. She's gonna leave Mitchell. They're gonna live happily ever after. But Ernest is not on that page at all. So let's go ahead and get into chapter 15. I think at the end of that, Eva was enjoying a nice soaking bath at the hotel. Here we go into chapter 15. A state police officer stood outside the luxury hotel suite door with the hysterical housekeeper and the panic-stricken hotel manager. Inside, the suite buzzed with commotion as crime scene investigators searched every inch of the room, lifted fingerprints, and photographed the victim as the scene was processed. The medical examiner gently shifted the body to determine the preliminary cause of death. It was a gruesome sight, a horror you might see staged in a haunted house, a gaping wound, trails of blood, and a body submerged in a bath of blood. A black male accompanied by a white female, both wearing badges, exited the elevator on the penthouse floor and approached the suite. The hotel manager, who looked like Barney Fife, was just as nervous, but was doing his best to calm down the crying housekeeper. The black male nodded to the officer and then spoke to the hotel manager. "Hello, sir. This is Detective Myers, and I'm Detective Wilson," he informed them. "We're the investigators assigned to this case. A few things we need to know at the start is who was the person who found the body." "My name is Bob Beasley, and this is Anna, one of our housekeepers. She found the body," the hotel manager replied, pointing to the woman heaving in his arms. "She came to clean the room this morning, walked in the bathroom, and saw her there. She started screaming, and a guest across the hall heard the uproar and called the front desk. I called 911 before I came up." "Do you know who the victim is?" Detective Myers asked, pulling a small writing tablet out of her pocket to take notes. "Her name is Eva Hamilton," the hotel manager said. "She checked in last night without a reservation. Said she would be here for an indefinite stay and wanted one of the top suites." "Looks like her stay is going to be a lot shorter than she thought," Wilson said. "Was she a regular at this hotel?" "No, I don't remember seeing her before," Beasley answered, shaking his head. "Do you know if she came in alone?" Detective Myers asked as she quickly wrote notes. "The front desk said she was alone," Beasley said. "She registered for the room in only her name, but this is a hotel, not a prison. We can't say who came to visit her. However, she did request 2 room keys." "Do you know if she went to the hotel bar?" Wilson asked, wondering if she met someone there. "No, she went straight up to her room as far as we know," the hotel manager said. "She was definitely expecting company," Wilson added, thinking about the 2nd room key. "Have you checked the surveillance cameras in the lobby?" Meyer asked, still writing. "We've only had time for a quick check," Beasley answered. "From your first glance, did it show anyone suspicious or out of place?" Myers asked. "There wasn't anyone on it who wasn't a registered guest," Beasley said hurriedly. "I hope we can wrap this up as quickly as possible. We have 2 conventions this weekend, and this kind of business would be a bit unsavory for our arriving guests." We'll try to be out of your hair before long, but this isn't something you can keep quiet from the media, Myers told him as she and Wilson entered the hotel room. Detective Rodney Wilson and Detective Megan Myers have been partners with the Nashville Police Department for 6 years. Each have persistently climbed the rickety ladder of promotions to become detectives. Wilson because he thought it was barbaric to go around ready to shoot somebody at the drop of a hat, and Megan because it was all about the Benjamins in higher rank. Their initial loathing of each other gradually transformed over the years into a working relationship that was built on trust, respect, and tolerance. More like family than friends, they were the domineering older brother and competing younger sister who would have never associated if fate had not thrust them together. Rodney was a tall, dark-skinned black man with the beginnings of a receding hairline. He always wore a suit and tie and the cliched detective trench coat in the fall and winter months. With thick glasses and an overbite that stuck out so far he couldn't close his mouth, he was the quintessential nerd in school who knew all the answers. He'd grown up in a middle-class family, graduated from college with a degree in criminal justice, and married the girl 2 doors down before he applied to the Metro Nashville Police Department. He scored exceptionally high on the civil service exam and joined the force in 1991. He was divorced when he was still in his blues, his marriage being the first casualty of his career in law enforcement, after which he decided there was no room on the ladder of success for a wife. He continued to test high to move his way up through the ranks of the department. Megan was a rough around the edges, tough white girl, average height with dirty blonde hair and pale blue eyes. She was considered attractive, but was more of a tomboy than a cheerleader. She was always in blue jeans that she dressed up with button-down shirts and blazers. Raised poor in a trailer park, her way out of that dead end was joining the military after high school. She applied to the police academy after her second tour in Iraq. She studied her ass off, but her scores on the exam to make detective were marginal. The reward for being a hard-ass patrolling the housing projects for several years gave her the extra boost she needed to make the cut. She was single, never married, although not by choice. Her biggest challenge was finding a guy who was more of a man than she was. The processing of the crime scene was almost complete when Wilson and Myers walked in. With all the forensic evidence retrieved, the medical examiner, Cy Altman, was preparing to move the body. "How's it going?" Cy Wilson asked, coming in to view the murder scene. "All in a day's work," Cy answered. Side by side in the bathroom, only a few feet away from the body, the detectives watched as the level of the bloody water slowly receded in the bathtub. "She's gorgeous," Detective Wilson said, morbidly admiring the body. "If I would have met her last night, none of this would have gone down." "She looks high maintenance," Detective Myers said, taking note of her styled hair, flawless makeup, and manicured nails. "That's what money'll do for you," one of the CSI team interjected, handing Detective Wilson her wallet and ID. "She's married to Mitchell Hamilton, a high society banker at Pinnacle Financial." Detective Wilson chuckled. "With a body like that, he should have kept her on a short leash." "You're sick, Rodney. The woman is dead," Myers said, frowning at him. "So what do we got, Cy?" Wilson asked the medical examiner, ignoring her remark. "From what I can tell you, it was one single cut to the carotid artery with a sharp, narrow blade by a right-handed perp, and she bled out." "I can't believe there's no sign of a struggle," Myers commented at the passive position of the body. "Could it be a suicide?" "No way," Cy said. "It's a homicide, and they left with a murder weapon." "She obviously didn't see it coming from the smile frozen on her face," Wilson said. "What is your estimate about the time of death?" Myers asked Cy. Cy stepped back and watched as two of his crews lifted the body out of the tub. "Rigor is already decreasing, so I would say between 10 and 12 hours, he said. "So you're saying between 11 and 1 o'clock roughly?" Myers asked, making a note of it on her notepad. "Pretty much. We'll know more when I get the contents of the stomach and after the toxicology reports," I said, motioning for his crew to zip up the body bag. Detective Wilson walked out of the bathroom and into the bedroom, followed by his partner. "This room looks clean," he told her. "Everything is still in its place. Her purse, money, credit cards, and jewelry. We can rule out a robbery. There's no doubt she knew the killer." "Why are you so sure she knew who it was?" Megan asked, interested. "Either she didn't hear the culprit or she knew they were in the room and she was comfortable with that. She didn't even splash water on the bathroom floor." Wilson squinted his eyes as they traveled around the room looking for anything or something out of place, a shadow, but there was nothing. Myers watched him and waited. Then she jerked her head to one side, signaling Wilson to follow her. Time to go drop this bomb on Mr. Hamilton, she said. Wilson nodded. Being that he's not here and she planned to stay for a while, this probably won't be the first bomb dropped on him lately. The detectives pulled up to the address on the victim's driver's license just before noon. That hotel suite was nice, but I don't think I would leave this place to stay there, Myers said, looking at the grandness of the Hamilton estate. She probably had her reasons, and they probably got her killed, Wilson said offhandedly, parking their car in the turnaround. Myers rang the doorbell, peering through the glass. A Latino woman wearing a light blue uniform dress and flowered apron approached the door. May I help you? Loretta asked guardedly when she opened the door, wondering who they were and what they wanted. The fact that she was an illegal always made her nervous when strangers came knocking. Yes, Wilson responded. I'm Detective Wilson, and this is Detective Myers. We're with the National Police Department. We would like to speak with Mr. Mitchell Hamilton. Please come in, Loretta said, avoiding eye contact and widening the narrow space between the door for them to step inside. She led them to the living room. Just one moment, wait here, she said, leaving them there. She hurried into the dining room where Mitchell and Natalie were about to have lunch. Mr. Hamilton, there are two detectives here to see you, she said, anxiously interrupting their conversation. What is this about? He asked her suspiciously. I don't know, sir. They're waiting in the living room, she answered, worried. Mitchell got up from the table and sat in his wheelchair. Then Natalie rushed over to him. Relax, Daddy, she said as she took the back handles of the chair and pushed him out of the dining room. Loretta followed close behind them. I'm Mitchell Hamilton, he said to the detectives as they entered the living room. Both Wilson and Myers were surprised to see the older wheelchair-bound man come into the room. Hello there, Mr. Hamilton, Wilson said. I'm Detective Wilson, and this is my partner, Detective Myers. Unfortunately, we are here with bad news for you, sir. I'm sorry to have to tell you that your wife, Eva Hamilton, was killed last night. Mitchell's body went limp as if his backbone had been snatched away. If he wasn't sitting in the wheelchair, he may have fallen to the ground. Natalie's face showed no expression at all as she held tight to the wheelchair handles. Loretta, standing behind them, screamed, "Oh my God," and covered her mouth. What happened to her? Mitchell asked solemnly, gazing down at the intricate design of the rug beneath him. She was found in the bathtub at the Renaissance Hotel with her throat cut, Myers said. Do you know who was responsible? He asked, looking up at them. Was this a robbery? No, we don't know who did it, and nothing was taken, Wilson answered. I know it's a bad time for you, but we need to ask you some questions. You'll have to come back another time, Natalie protested. Can't you see my father's ill? I'm sorry, but the sooner we get through this, the sooner we can catch the person who killed your mother, Myers insisted. She wasn't my mother, Natalie spat out like she was insulted. Please excuse my daughter, Mitchell interrupted. She's very protective of me. I'll answer your questions. I want to help find whoever did this awful thing to my wife. Loretta fidgeted behind them. Can I get you all something to drink? Coffee, water, or anything? She asked, searching for a reason to leave the room. Coffee would be great, Wilson said. What I'd like to do is talk to Mr. Hamilton alone. Detective Myers will get any other information you two might have. Natalie hesitated, feeling they didn't have any right to tell her where to go in her house. It's all right, Natalie, dear. I'm fine, Mitchell said to get her to acquiesce. Natalie wasn't happy about the request, but she left the room without any complaints and went to the dining room. She sat down at the table and continued to eat the salad that she had started on as if nothing had happened. Detective Meyer joined her at the table while Loretta got the coffee from Mitchell and Detective Wilson. A minute later, with the tray of coffee in her hand, Loretta hurried it back into the living room. She set the tray down on the table between Mitchell and Wilson, left hastily, passed through the dining room, and went back into the kitchen. I gather you weren't very fond of your stepmother, Myers said to Natalie. Natalie finished crunching on a crouton before she answered. She didn't know why this no-class white woman was disturbing her lunch. It was totally disrespectful. You're right, I never liked her, Natalie said, sipping from a glass of mint tea. Why not? Myers asked frankly, observing Natalie and thinking she might have had a reason to want to see the victim dead. She wasn't loyal and she thought too much of herself. By that, do you mean she was unfaithful to your father? She was a whore, Natalie blurted out. Strong language, Myers said, surprised at her candidness. I'm sure you've heard worse in your line of business, Detective. Would you know of anyone who'd want to hurt your stepmother? Myers asked. Uh, Nobody except for maybe a jealous girlfriend or wife, Natalie said sarcastically. Just for the record, Miss Hamilton, where were you last night? I was here having dinner with my father when Eva came in. She said she was tired of being saddled with a cripple, and then she left. I stayed here until my father went to bed. Then I went by a friend's apartment where I spent the night. You mind if I ask the name of your friend? Myers asked, jotting notes in her tablet. I do, Natalie replied defiantly, but his name is Jonathan Ross. Sorry for the inconvenience, Myers said, frowning. Natalie ignored her. She couldn't stand white women who thought the world revolved around them. This is a good cup of coffee, Wilson said after taking a big gulp. I know this might sound inappropriate right now, but this is a very beautiful home that you have out here. Mitchell nodded but didn't respond. I don't mean to be blunt, sir, but did your wife have any enemies that would have wanted to kill her? None that I know of, Mitchell said, rubbing his forehead. However, she was a shrewd businesswoman, which always creates competition and jealousies. Are there any other rivalries with other companies or employees at her company that may have an axe to grind? Mitchell shook his head. None that she discussed with me. When was the last time you saw your wife, Mr. Hamilton? Last evening. She left after dinner. Did she say where she was going? No, she didn't. How long were you and your wife married? Almost 8 years, Mitchell answered, reflecting back. Wilson paused for a moment. I hope you don't mind my asking, but were you in a wheelchair when you met? No, I wasn't. I was diagnosed with a degenerative disease about a year ago. My legs began weakening more in the last 6 months. Did your illness create problems in your marriage? Like in the bedroom, Wilson asked. Less from a formal inquiry standpoint, but more to satisfy his crude curiosity. I couldn't help but notice how attractive she was. Are you married, Detective? I'm divorced, sir. I'm sure that wasn't only because of problems in the bedroom, Mitchell said defensively. The only thing you need to know is that my wife and I were very much in love. Wilson volleyed back. If that's true, why was she spending the night in a hotel room? We had an argument last night. She left to cool off. I don't mean to be rude, but the way it looked to me, she was trying to heat things up with somebody else. Do you know who that person might have been? I wouldn't know anything about that, Detective. Please understand, Mr. Hamilton, I have to ask if you were at home all evening after the argument with your wife. Yes, I was. My housekeeper, Loretta, can verify that. Did your wife have any close friends that we can talk to? Not really. She wasn't what you would call a social butterfly. She was more of a workaholic. Thank you, sir, for your cooperation at a time like this. I'm truly sorry for your loss. Thank you, Detective Mitchell said, rolling his chair away towards the huge picture window. Wilson drained his cup of coffee and went back towards the dining room to join Myers. She met him in the hallway on her way out. Loretta lingered at the side kitchen door while they whispered back and forth between themselves. I don't think we'll get any more info here today, Wilson said. We can get more of the story from the housekeeper at the station. I doubt she'll have much to say with them looking down her throat. We'll be leaving now, Myers said, turning back to Loretta. She moved ahead of them through the foyer to show them to the door. Wilson handed her one of the cards when she opened the door. We'll be in touch. Feel free to call us if there's anything you know that can help us find Mrs. Hamilton's killer. I don't know anything, Loretta said, closing the door behind them. And that was chapter 15. Whew, somebody didn't kill Eva. Who done it, Lord? Who done it? Well, thanks for joining me again on Keeping It Copacetic. Please like and subscribe. Leave me some comments. Thank you for all the support on the channel so far. I appreciate that. Let me know what you think about the book. I will see you next time. Take care and be safe.